Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have with me again in the studio Professor Taiwo Abioye. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Professor Taiwo Abioye is a professor of linguistics, stylistics, and discourse, right?
Yes.
In language, and she was Deputy Vice Chancellor, Covenant University, and now Senior Research Fellow with the Terra Leadership Foundation, working on preventing violence against women and girls. Prof, in this segment, I want us to discuss what I call the widespread abuse of the human body, of the feminine body, of the woman's body in our society and in many societies, what I would call the objectification of the woman. By which I mean, see not only social media, see billboards and all kinds of magazines and so on and so forth. The woman is being made into an object. And I am surprised that several decades after Beijing conference, with all the feminist activities, with all the activities of women liberation all over the place, that this area of the widespread abuse of the body of the woman for commercial purposes, advertisers, the body of the woman comes in handy for advertisers to use. So the body of the woman is being used and abused in order to make money, to promote a product. I mean, from selling an umbrella to selling a car or whatever, to selling a SIM card or selling data. We abuse the body of the woman. Why will the body of the woman be something that is so readily available for abuse? Why would many women subject themselves to being abused, for their bodies to be abused in order to sell a product? Some inconsequential product. What's going on?
Thank you, sir. Like you rightly said, from the print media, social media, all over, we see women being used to advertise all kinds of things. And I think the issue is that people see women not as equal to men, but as an object of pleasure.
That's what I mean by objectification.
Thank you, sir. So they see women that way. And over time, women themselves have started seeing themselves
that way.
Yes, that way. Because you will even see the ones that are not advertising anything. They just take all kinds of pictures, post on the social media, do all kinds of things, and you keep wondering, how can somebody in her right senses do this? What does she hope will happen from what she has done now?
What does she hope? She will make money.
So, and then what is she selling? What is she advertising?
Her body.
So these are the issues. Men do it, they encourage it, and then some women also actually encourage men to do this to them. And I think women need to have a rethink. They need to have a change of mindset.
You see, I have reasoned it out to say, look, we have a number of agencies, hundreds of agencies now,
yes,
that are promoting gender rights, yes, women's rights, and the dignity of women, which is to be applauded. But I am not seeing an equal commitment to promoting the dignity of the woman's body from point of view of this widespread abuse and use to sell an object and so on and so forth. And I'm saying, isn't there a link between this cheapening of the woman's body, objectification of the woman's body, and the lack of respect by the male folk? Is there, can't all those who are engaged in gender rights and women's rights, can they see that there is a link between the ease with which a woman accepts her body to be used to sell a product, even the most, like I said, the most inconsequential product, that there is a link between that and the lack of respect, sufficient respect and acknowledgement of her God-given dignity?
I want to say that these organizations, we need to look at their structures first. Some of them are just out to make some noise. Some of these organizations that say they fight for women, yes, some are doing
excellent work,
excellently well, but some of them are just there to contribute to what is going on. If you look at the structures, if you look at what they plan to do, it is not part of what they want to do. I think we need to go back and then encourage the ones that are doing very well to say, why don't you include this? Yes. Why don't you are doing very well, why don't you include this in what you are doing? Because this is a fundamental problem.
You see, a lot of the agencies that fight for these rights or whatever are often funded from outside the country, and they have their own values. And a woman parading her naked body may not be any issue for the funders of some of these things from outside. But it's an issue for us. Culturally from here. So, and as long as we are not the ones funding those agencies, they may not consider it priority. So, what it means, perhaps what it means is local entrepreneurs, local groups and individuals taking interest in this and supporting agencies to campaign against what we are calling abuse of the woman's body. I don't see the interest of many local bodies and individuals who may have some resources to put those resources into this area, because the people who are funding the foreign agencies may not be interested in this area, and we can't blame them if they are not interested in that area,
because it's not part of their culture.
Yeah, but what about us here? What about us here? Can't we do something? Must we always wait for an issue to be taken seriously from America or Europe before we take it seriously?
We should actually take it seriously. And we're saying that at the level of the organizations, we could suggest to them. Then at the level of the family, at home, parents should pay attention to their children and discourage them from using their bodies the way they say it to get whatever they want. Parents, the school, the church, everybody does this, and then we will discover that with time, because it has eaten deep
into society.
Yes, it has gone a long way into the society, because you see some parents, some mothers, the way they dress, and you keep wondering, why are you dressed like this? And then what do you expect this woman to tell her daughter if she dresses the same way? They don't see anything wrong. As a matter of fact, they are copying Western cultures, which is foreign to us here. And I don't think we should lose our culture, because if we lose our culture, we have lost our identity.
And that dimension of our culture, I mean, when they say, there are people who just say, oh, the African culture, patriarchal culture, women were oppressed, women are oppressed. But it is not in every way. There was quite some respect and dignity in some parts of the African culture accorded to women. And women often carried themselves with such dignity as definitely to attract the kind of respect that they were given. I mean, it is not universal that in Africa that women were not respected. It is not universal. I mean, you come from the Yoruba land, and I know that in most of Yoruba land, the women may not be kingmakers, but women in many places were the only ones that can bring down a king.
Yes.
Right?
They have a lot of influence.
They have a lot of influence.
Yes.
Aha. And the powerful women in society were often very powerful.
Yes.
They commanded a lot of respect. And those are areas we need to borrow something from, to look at them and borrow something from. Of course, get something from the Western society, learn to reject what we do not want, and pick the ones that we want. But what I see is that a lot of the young women on social media that don't give a damn and dress anyhow and speak anyhow, can we look what kind of parentage would they have had? What kind of upbringing will they have had? Will they have had mothers and fathers that give time, that devoted time to them, give attention, to help them recognize their dignity? Will they have had? You know. So this is.
Yes. I want to believe some of them have. Some of them were properly brought up, but because of the trend, they call it trend now, because of the trend of things going on, this is trending, that is trending, have you seen what is trending? They want to be part of the trending group. And then this issue on the social media that some people call themselves social influencers, you don't know what they are influencing. They call themselves social influencers.
Well, social influencer just means that if you had, how many people do you have on Facebook? not much to reckon with.
No.
But you see, if you have 1,000, 2,000 people following you on Facebook, and this young lady, 15-year-old or 18-year-old, has 500,000 people, then the young people tend to follow her. What you say is not important, but whatever she says is important because she's a social media influencer. Now, that is where we are getting it really, really wrong, because the old adage says that empty barrels make the loudest noise.
Yes.
So the one that has the loudest voice doesn't necessarily have the more wisdom. But today, people are being carried away by what has come to be known as acute celebrity syndrome. Acute celebrity syndrome. That because the person is popular, it's like his or her views are the best. And they are every day hungry for whatever new thing the person posts. Now, some of the most wise men and women in this society, they don't speak much.
Yes.
They may not have 500 people on social media. But this is where we are today, and how the challenge is, how do we work against that? How do we point the attention of our young people to wise men and women for them to follow, rather than just whoever is able to make noise?
It's a big task, but I'm sure it can be done. Like I said, if we start at the level of the family, at home, and then in the church, other organizations, social agencies, if you just go like that, and then the individual is made to understand. For instance, the young man. The young man, before he becomes a young man, is a young boy. He is told, never ever disrespect a woman. Don't ever use any woman. If that child is taught these virtues, and then the girl is also taught that you should take yourself seriously. Don't think that whatever it is you want, you can get by just displaying your body. If the girl child is also taught how to comport herself, how to take care of herself,
how to respect
herself,
and recognize that she
Yes.
is more than the sum total of her sexual parts.
Yes.
I mean, this is important.
Yes.
That the child growing up should know, I am more than the sum total of my sexual parts.
Yes.
So that it is not, and so she carries herself.
She carries herself with dignity.
With dignity.
Yes. So in such a case, such children will not have the same mindset as the others. But the way things are now, the youth, they don't care. They don't care, and some of them, I understand, some people even give them money. Go and start liking whatever you see. Just like whatever I post. Like whatever I post, I will give you this amount. Yes.
Oh, people are bribed to like.
Yes, they do it a lot. So, and because values have changed.
Somebody came out during the during the BB Nigeria. What is it? Big Brother. Okay. Big Brother Nigeria.
Yes.
Somebody came out and said, I'm supposed to be number 1 or number 2 because I give out so much money. I gave out so much money for them to vote for me. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things are being done now by, monetary inducement, even to get somebody to like you.
Yes. Which is bad. So if children are taught that way, they grow up like that. You have a social club, say no to violence against women, say no to objectification of the women folk and things like that. I am sure with time we can bring things back to the way they used to be.
What is the role of materialism in all this? Consumerism and materialism, because we are told that a lot of this display of feminine body and abuse and the willingness of many to have their bodies abused for money is on account of consumerism. I mean, people want to ride fast cars and
they want to use iPhone.
They want to use expensive.
Jobs.
Yes. So how do we raise young people to recognize that you are not what you have? You are not the size of your house. You are not how flashy your car is. That there is more in you than what gadgets you are able to display. Because I don't you think it is emptiness inside that make people to begin to grab all these toys as their source of meaning?
It is. There are no values whatsoever. No values. They just, whatever they have goes to the highest bidder. And which is very painful. People should be taught to have a sense of value, to look at things and say, yes, I believe this one, no matter how much is tied to it. Because money is made to be spent. It can be spent in one day, and that will be it. But then, what about the rest of the life, of the child's life? So I think children should be taught values the way our parents taught us. You are going to the farm and you see some bananas and some money there. You look at it, this is how much, and you put the money and take the bananas. Nobody steals. Nobody takes it. You go to somebody's farm and you pluck oranges because you just want to take some oranges. Not because you want to steal and go and sell. But the way things are now, I want to think that our values have been
bastardized.
Yes.
But you are saying there is still some hope, right?
There is still hope, because if we say there is no hope, it means we have given up. We cannot give up.
When there is life, there is hope.
Yes, we cannot give up, because as long as there is life, like you said, there is hope. We cannot
what
give
it
up.
means is that parenting today is an arduous task.
It is.
Raising a child today is not going to be as easy as it was 50, 100 years ago.
No.
Because the parent is contending with
so many
forces.
Issues. Yes. Because when we were growing up, there was nothing like internet. There was nothing like tabs. You see children playing with tabs, iPhones. We didn't have anything like that. And television does not start broadcasting until maybe 4 o'clock.
5 to 11 p.m.
Yes, and if you committed any offense, you were told to stand behind the door so that you would not be able to watch any of the programs. So it was a serious offense. But now, 24/7, everything is on They have access to social media, what people are doing abroad, and they want to copy without even thinking that, okay, this is where I am in Nigeria. Is this appropriate? Is it acceptable? They don't care.
So the kind of foundation that a child will require to be able to cope in the public space, to be able to cope in the face of social media that is not just available, but actually harassing each person.
Yes.
Because it's the social media is on the face of everyone.
Yes.
To be able to cope with that, then the child needs a solid foundation from home.
Precisely.
And my own problem is, to what extent are young parents today equipped to offer that solid moral foundation, ethical foundation for their children? How equipped are our young parents today?
That is where the church comes in, sir. The young people nowadays, when they want to get married, they just go to church to fulfill all righteousness. They go for counseling to fulfill all righteousness because already they have their own mindset. Why don't they sit down together and say, this is what we want to build? This is the type of home we want. Many of them don't do this. They just decide they are getting married and that is it. Some
and they are often planning for that day.
Yes, just that day.
But not for the life.
No, just that day. Some of them don't even have jobs, but they will tell you that God will provide. I don't see how a family can be sustained on that. You don't have a job, you get married, and then the next thing, the wife becomes pregnant, and God will provide. It is stretching it too far. So I think it is important that the young people sit down and decide, with what is going on now, this is the type of family I want to build. And then the two of them will agree and they work together. Working together means you are not looking at others. Because by the time you look at what others are doing, you will lose your
focus.
Yes. So you don't look at what others are doing. So many parents out there, they don't care. Some of them have come to tell us in schools that we brought our children here so that you could teach them, so that you could help them. So what were they doing all these years at home? We don't know. They blame the teachers, and then they continue to harass the teachers for not taking care of the children.
And this time, we are talking of young adults even.
Yes, young adults. So by the time they graduate from the university, maybe they get a good paying job or whatever, they just tell you they want to get married. So what values are they going to pass on to the children?
This is a serious issue. You cannot give what you don't have.
No.
So when the young people themselves do not have those values, if all that concerns them is money, how I'm to make money, what is trending, what fashion is trending, what gadgets are trending, if that is what it is for many young people, then that is not a foundation upon which to raise children.
It isn't.
So we have a task, and then under those circumstances, what can the rest of society do to stem or forestall a major collapse in society? Because you're talking about children being raised under circumstances of no serious values.
Yes.
Is there something the rest of society can do to forestall a total collapse?
I want to say that first of all, we should do away with this our sit-don't-look attitude. You just sit down and say, that's how they do it now. It is not done. Where you see they are doing such things.
Take a stand.
Yes. We should do away with this sit-don't-look attitude because it is not doing us any good.
So each person should get involved.
Yes.
Get involved in how children grow up in your environment.
Yes.
Otherwise, they can become terrorists over you.
Yes. And that was what it was before.
Yeah.
A child will come home and say, this person flogged me, or this other one. And the parents will say, serves you right. You must have done something wrong.
Yes.
But now, parents will make noise. They will even call a policeman to come and arrest the teacher for either flogging the child or something, just to correct the child. So I think we should all take responsibility.
The truth
This
is
is
that
our society.
if we do not take responsibility,
Yes.
the children will come back to unleash mayhem on us.
Yes.
Meaning that my involvement in how my neighbor's child is doing and how my neighbor's child is growing, I have a self-interest dimension of it.
Yes.
Meaning, if I don't do something and my neighbor's child becomes a hooligan, I am not safe
Yes.
in that kind of environment. So, like you are saying, you cannot decide to sit on the fence.
No.
You cannot sit down, look, because if everything collapses, it collapses on our heads, on the heads of all of us. On this note, I bring this to an end. I have been speaking with Professor Taiwo Abioye. She's a senior research fellow with Luke's Terra Leadership Foundation and a visiting professor with Veritas University. Thank you for coming on the program. Thank you.